Okay, I've done a couple of takes of this now. Hello, my name is Sarah. I am a knitter living in Missoula, Montana. Sorry, my light is freaking out. And I have been knitting for about 12 years. I taught myself how to knit. And I found that in the last 1 to 2 years, I've gotten pretty okay at knitting. And I'm finding recently with the current pandemic that I'm finishing a lot of objects. Knitting has definitely helped de-stress in certain situations. I mean, I'm not going out with my friends, not going to many gatherings this summer. So things have just been flying off the needles. So I thought I would talk to myself and a camera and put it on the internet, showing off my knitted items. I think what I will do is I will follow the standard knitting podcast kind of template. I'll probably start off with my finished objects, show my work in progress, and then kind of go on to what I'm thinking about or any acquisitions that I've got. The other thing I really want to do is to showcase how much things cost to knit. It is not a cheap hobby, but there are certain things that you can do to make it more economical. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so I want to start off, and I have notes here, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. So I wanted to show, I figured it's kind of unfair because this is my first episode and I could show you literally everything I've ever knit, but I figured I'd start off with just doing my finished objects from this last month. I think that's kind of fair. So my first project that I finished, it might have been finished the last week of June, but it also might have been finished the first week of July. I'm not entirely positive. But this is the Snuggle is Real cowl. I absolutely love it. I'll show you what it looks like on. The Snuggle is so real. I can't even. I love this cowl. This is the second one I've made. This one is for myself. The first one I made was for my spouse, my husband. So with this cowl, it's a paid for pattern by Maxim Cyr, C-Y-R is his last name. Purchased off of Ravelry. It is a $8 pattern. I used 3 different types of yarn in this. I used for the black, I used a Cascade Heritage Silk, which was $17 for a skein. I held that double. And then this lovely kind of, I almost want to say it's like a Monet type of colorway, where it's got lots of beautiful blues and pinks and greens. That is a Mano Still Uruguay. I'm not sure what the colorway is, but the skein cost me $19. And then on the inside, it is this lovely, lovely pink color, extremely bright and loud. But it is Drops alpaca silk, brushed alpaca silk. I got this at my local yarn shop. It is $7.50 for a skein. All things considered, when I think about how much it cost, how much of each bit of yarn I used, this whole object was $41.50. But I love it, I love it, I love it. I'll literally wear it every day in the winter here. The other thing with this pattern is I did not knit the full 13 inches. I went ahead and went with 7 inches of this motif. I mean, in my opinion, I'm a lady. I don't need 13 inches. 7 inches is great. Okay, what's wrong with me? So after I knit that, I went ahead and I made a beret with some of this leftover Mano Still Uruguay yarn. So this is the Best Beret pattern by James Watts, who is really prolific on Instagram. I absolutely love their account. And I knit the largest size, but I also have quite the large head. So I made this beret. I don't know what I will do. My daughter loves it, so she's wearing it. She's 5. But this is what it looks like on my giant melon. Hello. So I love it. I think I will make for myself in this pattern. It's a paid for pattern, best beret. It's $5. There's 2 options. So this is the simple beret, I believe, and then there's a drama one. And I think I will make the drama one for myself. I feel like it will offset my mass of hair and my giant melon perfectly. Okay. So, and you can see it's got that same beautiful colorway. Up next, this is one of my favorite projects ever. So I made the slipped rib hat. This is a paid for pattern by Jody Brown, aka Mrs. Brown Bags. I love her. She's one half of the Grocery Girls. She cracks me up. I love the podcast. I love, 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 love this hat, as will be evidenced by what I show you here shortly. But it's got this lovely twisted rib, and it's like a faux brioche because it's got this that same alpaca that I used in my Snugglers reel is held behind. I love this. It's my favorite. So yes, slipped rib by Jody Brown. All things considered, I think that with the yarn I used between these two and the cost of the full skein, I think this was like $4 and this was like $6 to make. Up next, I have, you guessed it, another slipped rib hat. So same pattern by Miss Jody Brown, and this I used a gifted skein of yarn. This is, this main color is a Lolo Did It Simply Worsted. It's in the colorway The Quibbler. I just love this colorway. It's got these like beautiful oranges and lavenders along with these lovely, lovely yellow tones. Put it on. I absolutely love it. And then on the inside I did do that same drops brushed alpaca silk in a light blue colorway. So one skein of the Lolo Did It yarn cost $26, but like I said, this was a gifted skein of yarn for me. So that does not count towards my total. But again, I love, 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 love this hat. It's also a hot day, so I'm glistening. I absolutely love this hat. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I love that it's the Quibbler colorway. I love Harry Potter. And real quick, I should say, love Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling and I are not on good terms. Trans rights are human rights. And I'll leave it at that. I also made another slipped rib hat. And this hat, I love, 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 love. Like I love everything else. So this hat is made with a Plymouth Yarn Company worsted weight in the black. You can see it was $13.99 for a 100-gram skein at my local yarn shop. On the inside, I used some minis in Hocus Pocus inspired colorways by Miss Monsters Creations. So you can see this one here, I believe is inspired by Winifred, Sarah, and Mary. Because this one's called I Put a Spell on You, Amuck, 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 and I Smell Children. I love this one too. Now the thing with this hat is, I think with this beautiful color on the inside of this hat, the actual slipped stitches make it look super cute inside out. So I have a completely reversible hat. So I think all things considered, this hat, with the cost of the mini skeins, the cost of this yarn, and the amounts of each I used, I think I totaled this at about $18. Now this Plymouth yarn, I don't know what it is. It's not as soft as I like for it to be. It is a 100% superwash wool. It's not as soft as the Lolo Did It. So take that as you will. It's a perfectly wonderful hat and I love it. Now I also completed another slipped rib hat that I gave away as a gift, and that was in a I did with a Cascade Sport with the same drops blue alpaca held behind. I'll try and add a photo. I'm not really sure if I know how to do that, but if I can figure that out, there it is. So I gave that away to a lovely friend of mine. Up next, this is a hat I made for my husband. He's actually the person who gifted me this Lolo Did It yarn in the Quibbler colorway. This is another pattern by the lovely, lovely Jody Brown. This is the Pleasure Rib hat, and it brings me endless joy that she named it Pleasure Rib, because it truly is ribbed for my pleasure. I love this hat. So it's got this nice cable detail here. It could not be easier. I think I worked this whole hat up in 2 hours. And I do not think that I'm a fast knitter. I've been told otherwise, but I absolutely love it. I did not do as many rows as the pattern calls for, because I don't care so much for a slouchy hat, and I think you'll probably realize if you looked closely at my other hats that I don't do as many rows as are probably called for in the pattern. But here's an up close look of this beautiful color work, or colorway, I should say. Look at those like beautiful greens and oranges and lavenders and blues. Absolutely adore it. I just once again, just laughing up here all by myself. All by myself. So speaking of the Pleasure Rib, I did also make another version of that shortly after I completed this hat. I made one that's in yellow. It was a Cascade yarn, sport weight yellow, that was gifted to me by my sister-in-law. And I used that 50-gram skein to make a hat for my daughter. For the life of me, I cannot find it. It's the joy of knitting for a child. So if I can add a photo, here's a photo of my child wearing said hat. Since, you know, it's lost in the ether of her room. I have no idea. I looked, I swear I looked everywhere. Anyway, on to the next. So next I decided, my daughter is 5. She will be starting kindergarten this year if schools are to open, which in my area of the world, it seems like they will. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Anyway, it's not, I'm unhappy. Okay, so this is, I used the Garden Gnome hoodie pattern by Mina Phillips of the Knitting Expat for this. I did not do the patterning on the hood or the sleeves because I could not be bothered to do that. Maybe in the future I will, but it's got this cute little pom-pom. I also added, a pouch. I do not think that that is in the pattern. I think I just created that. I don't know what I did, if I'm being completely honest. I also love the twisted rib here and here. It's got this lovely detail on the hood where it's got these slipped, twisted, I don't know, I like that, and it's a little V-neck. So I love this. It is a top-down knitted sweater, and then you pick up stitches for the hood. I used Caron or Caron or whatever it is yarn. It's just a basic yarn you get at Michael's or Joann's. It's $3.50 a skein. I used 4 balls or tubes. I wouldn't necessarily call it a ball, a tube, or a skein. It's just like a big chunk of yarn. But my daughter loves it, and that's all that matters. It's acrylic, completely washable. So yeah. Then this is my most recent, no, it's not my most recent finished item. This is the, oh, I forgot to mention, this pattern is a paid for pattern. It cost $5 for the pattern. But with the amount of yarn I used, it was like a $12 hoodie. Anyway, on to what I'm actually wearing and showcasing. These are the tinsel mitts. This is a paid for pattern by Andrea Mowry. It is $6, which I thought initially was a lot of money to pay for a mitten pattern. But these are not the only mittens I have made from this pattern. I have made 3 other mittens for my child. It's got sizes from toddler to adult large. And it also has 3 different versions of this pattern. And it's got this lovely detailing of the slipped rib here, or the slipped stitch. But you can either make a full mitten, you can make a fingerless mitten, so it'd look like this with like the thumb chopped off. And you can make a convertible mitten, which is what I did on this. So you really get a lot for your money when you think about it. You get essentially 3 patterns in one to fit the whole family, or, you know, your neighbor, your bus driver, whoever you got around you. Next, I don't know exactly when I finished this, but I feel like it was earlier this month, if not late June. But this is the octopus pattern by the godmother of knitting, Susan B. Anderson. I love knitting stuffies, so you'll probably see that if I ever do more of these podcasts. This is a simple knitting pattern. I knit this with some leftover sock weight yarn from, I think it was a Monostate, Uruguay. I had used that to make a tin can knit flax light and a barley light for baby, friend of mine. But I decided to keep this. I always feel nervous giving toys to other people that I've made that are having babies that have these safety eyes in them. You're not really supposed to give things with safety eyes to people with babies. So I kept this because I did, because I love it and I think it's cute and my daughter likes it too. It's really good for like throwing across the room and like pelting me. She loves to throw it and pelt me with it. So the pattern by Susan B. Anderson is $6 pattern. So you can, it has directions for, this is a small one, so this is a tiny one, or you can make one with worsted weight. So it's got 2 different sizes you can make. And it truly is, it's a beautiful pattern. I mean, look at this bottom finishing. It's all one piece. I am not one for seaming. I hate seaming. I hate mattress stitching. If I can 3 needle bind off, fine. But if I can knit something all at once, that's my preferred. I barely like weaving in ends. If someone says they like weaving in ends, I mean, I think they need an evaluation. There's just nothing right about that. The last thing that I have completed is this Rosy Sunflower hat. This is another pattern by Jody Brown, Mrs. Brown's Bags on Instagram. I absolutely love this. I was actually asked to test knit this pattern because I had made so many of the slipped rib hats. And when she said, "Would you like to test knit this?" I practically died. I think I might have died a little bit, actually. I think I screamed. And my husband's like, what's going on? It's like, Mrs. Brown's bag messaged me on Instagram. So I had a full like celebrity moment because I have watched all of the Grocery Girls. I watched Off Your Needles. I love them. But anyway, so I test knit this. So I did not pay for the pattern yet, but once it's published, I will buy it because I think you should support if you have the means to do so. I love this hat. So this is another mosaic knitting. And it, when you have it on, you can see the chevrons a little bit more. So this coral color is a gifted yarn to me. This was, my sister-in-law gave this to me. This is another Cascade Sport superwash wool. And then this blue you have seen before. I used it in this slipped rig hat. So this is another Drops brush alpaca silk, because I think I bought like 6 balls of it. So altogether, this one does use, I don't know why I used way more of this alpaca in this hat than I did in any of these. So I don't know. I also really like the decrease on this hat. I think it's really beautiful. I think the decrease looks really great. I also, I don't have any pom-poms. I'm not typically a pom-pom person, but I feel like this would be a beautiful pom-pom hat. So I'm trying to remember how much. So this was a gifted yarn, and then I used the drops. So probably $7 I spent on yarn for this hat. And Jody's patterns are usually $5, so I'll probably spend $5 on that pattern. Those are all my FOs. It still feels weird talking to myself like this. But I have one work in project. I have one work in process. Nope, still not getting it. I have one work in progress. I have one whip. And you will see I have it in my lovely project bag from my, not a project bag, it's just a shopping bag because I don't have project bags. But this is my only work in progress. I try not to have too many whips going on at once, but this ideally would have been already finished. But when I purchased some of the yarn, I had to order some, and it still hasn't arrived. I ordered it shortly before the shutdown, and it has not arrived yet. So I could only finish it to this point. So this is a pattern by Espace Tricot. It's a free pattern. This is called, this is the Turtle Dove 2, I believe. So you can see it's got this lovely twisted rib neck and kind of like this drop sleeve. I'm knitting the size 2 because I don't want it to be super like loose and bulky like I made another one of these, and I made it I think a size 3, and it was I felt too bulky. So anyway, I've separated for sleeves. I've knit maybe 4 inches down on the body. Absolutely love it. You can see the colorway is to die for. This is another Lolo Did It Harry Potter inspired colorway in the Honeydukes simple worsted, and I'm holding it together with Drops brushed alpaca silk. Are you sensing a theme? So that's the Drops alpaca silk. This is the off-white color. That's what I'm waiting on. I have the rest of my sweaters quantity of the Honeydukes. This is what it looks like in the ball, in the cake, whatever you want to call it. Come at me, bro. I dare you. No, please don't come at me. I'm so sensitive. So anyway, once that the rest of my off-white alpaca silk arrives, I will fly through this because I have been just dying to wear this. It is the first day of August. Oh, by the way, it's the first day of August in Montana, and so it's 100 degrees. But I hope to have this done by the end of August, so then I can start wearing this in September when things start to cool off. So that's it for my lips. I have a couple other things too that I'm going to start working on, so I wanted to show those to you as well. Oh, by the way, so for this sweater, for this turtle dove sweater, this is not a cheap knit. So for me, I'm a size extra large. So a sweater's quantity of yarn for me is about 7 skeins. 7 skeins of Lolo Did It yarn, $26 a piece. That's a lot of money. I'm pretty sure I used a discount code, but it's not enough to make it a reasonable price. I used some savings for this because it is really lovely. Okay, on to the next. So this is more Lolo Did It yarn. This is a Lolo Did It Simple DK in the Polyjuice Potion colorway. I love it so much. I knit a swatch of this, and I don't know, I already knit a swatch of it for my sweater. I'm going to use it to make, I'm going to cast on probably tonight, the Love Witch pattern by Disco Stitch. But look at this yarn. I love the purpley, orange, pink, green, black, the speckles, the yellow, neon yellow. Absolutely adore this. So I purchased 7 skeins of this as well. I should probably only have to use 5.5 skeins for my Love Witch pattern, and I hope to make some hats and mittens as well with this. So let me see. 1 skein of these. So one skein is 100 grams, 231 yards, 4-ply. Love it. Love it. So I will cast that on. And then I also brought up, these are also some acquisitions. I used them in a pattern or in a finished object, which I already talked about. So these are the mini skeins from Miss Monsters Creations in the Hocus Pocus colorway. And these are the ones that I haven't used yet. But aren't they lovely? I just love them. I love Halloween, by the way. I love Halloween, and I love witches. I love Harry Potter. So look at those. So I'm trying to, I think what I'm going to do, I'll probably make some stuffies with these. Yeah. I have a pattern. It's for the Kitschy Cat. So I'm thinking I'll make some cats with these. And these are the leftovers from that I used in the hat. You can see. One of them I wound into a ball, the other one I kind of just let run free. And then the other thing, you can tell, I use leftover shopping bags for all of my gadgets and gadgets, but I don't know why I want to show this to you, but this is my Notions pouch. I mean, if you chew Altoids, there you go. It's a Notions thing. In here I have my tape measure, my cable needle, all of my stitch markers, and a needle. So it's the perfect size with my tape measure. I don't know why. I think that this is so adorable to put it in my Altoids tin. I bet everyone's already doing that, and I just think I'm an innovator. But anyway, that's about it. There's some things that I purchased that are in the mail on the way to me that I'm very excited about, and I hope to have next time I'm on here. I'm not entirely sure how this will go in the future, if I'll do a bi-weekly or a once a month, but I'm hoping for bi-weekly. We'll see if anybody even watches this. I'm going to try and link everything below that I talked about today, and you know, yeah, yarn, knitting. I've done it. Thank you.